Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Leadership from the Heart. Today, I have with us Russell Harvey, known as the Resilient Coach. With more than 2 decades in leadership development and over 6,000 hours of coaching executives and board-level leaders, Russell has helped organizations navigate uncertainty, build resilient cultures, and lead through change with clarity. His mission today is simple but powerful. It's to help organizations become a force for good by developing leaders who don't just survive disruption, but they grow because of it. Russell, welcome to the show. How are you?
Brilliant. Thank you. I love that introduction. It's good.
Thanks.
It's making me smile. You forget about the things that you've done. And whilst it's sort of front and center in my head while I'm here, that was beautifully articulated, Romie. Thank you. So yeah, I'm all good.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. I love the idea that you are doing it for a force of good, because leadership it can be used for a various number of reasons, and I wanted to start the show off with redefining what resilience is. Everybody talks about resilience, but I think most people may or may not misunderstand it. So how do you define resilience, and what do most leaders get wrong about it?
Thank you. Yes. So I really, really want people to take away resilience being about springing forward with learning. So that's just really I am not a fan of the term bounce back. Essentially, I appreciate it's there. But what concerns me about that sort of attachment to resilience is that what I observe, so to answer a bit of your second question, what was it leaders get wrong, humans get wrong in relation to resilience, is that they might face into a challenge and they'll go, right, I've faced into it. I'll now bounce back to how I was. And so I go, whoa, hang on a minute, stop there, pause. What did you learn? And in that learning, that for me is, some assumed values around this bringing forward learning. You're getting into a better place, you're thriving. But this is also around, actually, there is an element of community in this, right. Striking a better balance between self and community, essentially. Yes. That's assumed in there. So just from an ethical, moral point of view, the resiliency piece for me isn't around being I win at everything. It's a case of I've got to take some others with me. So championing businesses to be a force for good is like, one leader at a time, or on a leadership development program or a big conference, it's like hundreds, thousands of leaders, to really think about how they are impacting the answer to the question for them and their team of how are you?
Sure.
There's lots of research that shows that one's ability, that when you've got a boss, a line manager, a leader, your ability to give that a decent answer of like, you know what, I'm all right, or there's a lot going on, I'm pretty good, is down to how their leader role models, all sorts of things in the resiliency space. So one of the other things that people get wrong around resilience is only thinking about it as it's literally, I've got to keep going regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do need to role model resilience, that we've got to get through a situation,
right?
But somewhere either during it or immediately after it, you need to pause. A pause can be all sorts of things. Listen to a podcast, great conversation with a friend, literally staring at the wall and just going, "I've done," That's a pause,
Yeah.
So yeah, springing forward learning.
I love that. Even having a podcast and talking to someone like you, this is a great pause for me. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What brought you into the space? I'm just very curious.
Into the resiliency space. Yeah. So literally since I was a kid, always interested in human behavior and, why we do things that we do. And then 90% of my career has been in learning and development, leadership development, organizational development. And so the specific resiliency piece was probably about 14-ish years ago. If anywhere between, the timeline keeps getting skewed from me. It's like, how old am I? Anywhere between 14 to 18 years ago. I was at the last permanent role that I had was a company called the Co-op Group, which I love, a great set of values, but it went through huge changes that just the world fell on everybody's heads at some point. And all of my clients, which were this part of the pool of internal leaders, literally came to their head in their hands and said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I've been looking at this word resilience, and I've been looking at this framework called VUCA, which is, been around for a while, but I think it's still got validity to it." And I just went, all our solutions for how you will work through all of these challenges are in there. So when I knew that it was a likelihood that I would leave the co-op because of just the volume of change and restructures, that's when the resilience coach was born, essentially. So my specialism for a long period of time has been how to lead yourself and others well in a full-on crazy world.
Yes. Yes. A crazy world it's been. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it continues to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time it feels a little smooth, it just comes right back up. And that's just where we are right now. And it's still the best time to be alive. So I appreciate you helping people see that it's not just a bounce back. It is also what did you learn from this? So maybe we don't have to keep learning it. you know?
No, well, that is the thing that fascinates me. And sometimes I can be inside my own head and get myself into a pickle of like, I'm not sure we're learning. Seem to be making the same mistakes. Oh, what have we done that for? And then I'll speak to people like yourself and go, right, it's okay, Russell, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
curious. I loved your sentence and over like it's the best time to be alive. If I may, how come you say that? I agree with you, but how come you say that?
I mean, just when we look at history and we identify I think every piece of history has gone through very similar struggles, right? And I think it's all relative. But I think when I think about our freedoms right now and just what we are able to do, and someone like you, someone like me, who both have companies, right, who get to dive into their passion of leadership and create a career and a living from that. I don't know if everyone had that 60 years ago or if we would be on the line, pressing a machine and helping Henry Ford create cars. You know what I mean? If I'm being totally honest, I think
Yeah,
there's
totally.
a lot of freedom here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
there
bad
really
as it
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a really good point. It really, there are, there's so many people that are forging their own path, essentially,
Yes. Yes.
which is great because one of the dimensions of being resilient is having a purpose.
Mm,
So I think we've enabled over the recent decades for more people to have that opportunity to discover that for themselves,
yeah.
rather than it have been essentially, we're not even going to get you to think about whether you got a purpose or not. You just need to do this.
Right. 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 Yeah. Your purpose can wait.
And in this, don't I say this is why I know it will come up with the advent of artificial intelligence. I
Hmm.
just think it is a huge opportunity to revisit the question, what makes us human? Because it's the same question of what makes us resilient, in my opinion. It's the same question. So we watched a couple of documentaries recently in the UK all about this, and some of them continue into spiral of despair, but then others can give you some hope and optimism, essentially. So I just think it is, lots of people with freedom and purpose. The existential question is, how do we support more of the human race to make some good decisions about what they choose to do?
Yeah.
In today's world, I think we've really got to try and find a way to support people to be in that place rather than being dragged into what appears to be we're being pushed towards by some individuals who have ownership of all of this AI, essentially.
Right. Yeah, and as the world continues to evolve in that direction, I think something else is also evolving in terms of reconnecting. You have a lot more communities, you have a lot more restaurants who have, the thing in the middle of the table to drop your phone and just be present. I just saw yesterday that Sony is working with Spotify to come up with a Walkman so you don't necessarily have to have your phone on you all the time, but you can just have music like we used to, just with a Walkman and stream your music still, because God forbid, but I'm like, wow, we really are, as we're continuing to disconnect, we are also finding ways to connect again. And I think it's such a beautiful thing in the midst of everything else, very cool.
Just so I think that is great. And just on that though, how come we need any form of technology involved in supporting us to connect as humans? It's like, so it's, yeah, great idea. But how come we've gone down that route of like, oh, we feel as though in some instances technology hasn't supported us, and our solution is to continue to try and use tech in another way? And I'll just occasionally go, well, just why don't you just not use the tech and go and knock on somebody's door and go say hello?
Yeah. Yeah. No, great point. Great point. I think it's going to be an evolution. I think taking tech away right now would be very frightening for people.
I don't mean that. It's just ironically, I quite often see things to go, there's a problem, and which may have been instigated by too much technology.
Sure.
And I quite often see the solution seems to be, well, let's continue to use tech to resolve it. And I'm
Yeah.
just going, excuse me,
Yeah.
what if we didn't do that and we tried something else instead?
That's a great point. That's a great point. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. That's good. That's good. So after you left the core group, you started your own company.
Yes, yeah. The Resilience
And
Coach,
then
she's 11 years old this month.
hey,
Thank you.
congratulations. And so is that when you started helping companies merge and do acquisitions and stuff like that?
So that it was not necessarily so much in the mergers and acquisitions. It was just hundreds of different ways to respond to the inquiries around something isn't quite right around here, where, there is too much change or overwhelm, or, with the volume of change, it often meant that some departments, some teams, some organizations were going to come together.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we, navigate all of that? So the huge amount of it is change management or change leadership or behavioral change. And I have always had the belief, as I said earlier on in our conversation, that this is about the individual leadership relationships. You've got somebody that, signs off somebody's holidays. Ergo, they're your boss, they're your line manager, they're your leader, or whatever terminology you want to use. And when you ask a human being, how are you? A huge capacity and capability to give a decent answer to that question is down to this relationship.
Yeah.
So immediately when you are a leader, there are all sorts of assumed things on your shoulders. So to try and simplify that for anybody that's a leader, to start with, I say to them, look, you're only responsible for three things as a leader, which one of them, there's a few bits in the first one, but in the first one, what you're responsible for is delegating brilliantly to your people, to their strengths, and removing the blockages to them performing. You're responsible
Yes.
for that. Okay.
Yes.
The second thing that you're responsible for is to build, grow, nurture, and develop a resilient team.
Yes.
And then maybe this should be first, but I'm keeping it third. The third one is to be able to do the first two. You have to make the choice and the decision, responsible choice and decision to engage with your personal resilience
Mhm.
and be a resilient leader role model. That's three things when you're all day, every day. And then, so when I work with, teams and leaders and clients, I'll say, so those three things, now look at your diary. How many of the things in your diary are in those three buckets? And most of the time people go, not a lot, Russell.
Right.
And I go, okay, there's an opportunity to now simplify, adapt, shift, change. And, as long as you see the value and the benefit in it,
Right.
because the value and benefit will be when I ask them, how are you as a leader? Instead of them saying something like, golly, Russell, God, or like, there's a lot going on and I don't know what to do, or I'll be all right if it wasn't for, they say, there's a lot going on, Russell. The world is absolutely crazy and I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the difference,
Yes.
essentially. And
Yes.
and I'm good, there's huge amount of things, because it's what is it that's enabled you to give that answer? And what's enabled them is that they have worked on their own resilience, understood what it means to be a resilient leader, and they have a lot more clarity on point, purpose, decision making, what they're going to do, how they're going to go about it, what they're going to say, where they're going to turn up, how they're going to turn up.
Mhm. Is that the core of what you see as the opportunity, regardless of industry?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the industry is. It really doesn't, essentially, because it's about
Mm,
the human relationship. So,
right.
I'll also go to different places to try and start the conversation and go, right then, resilient humans equals a resilient organization. Discuss
Yeah, absolutely.
and sees where it
So
goes. Your brain is firing off all sorts of things there, isn't it, Romy?
it's firing on all cylinders right now. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I often say that pressure like changes us. I say a lot on my show and in my content that, you know, pressure often amplifies who we are as a leader, who we are already inside. And leadership does the same thing. Money does the same thing. What has pressure taught you about the human behavior?
What's really taught me is that there will be some behaviors that I'll default to. So, it's on perpetual levels of self-awareness and self-understanding. That's what it's taught me. And the difference between knowing and doing, that
Mm-hmm.
that has it's really taught me a huge lot around that. Of like, I know I'm supposed to be doing the behaviors of, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm not going to yet either. But I know that I will at some point, but I'm just not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
So all this pressure. So, I've been made redundant 6 times in my career, essentially. Things to learn from that, and challenges come in all sorts of different ways. Running a business for 11 years, and it's still challenging at times. Pandemic and all sorts of things. And yes, we've mentioned it before, the 2 letters of AI. There's still a journey of discovery about how it's going to impact that. And at times I put the pressure on myself inappropriately. And it's about the sort of noticing. So I'm quite lucky in that I have spent all of this time cogitating on the word resilience. So I
Mm-hmm.
have all of the tips, tools, and techniques to hand. It's now about whether I choose
Sure.
to do them or not. And
Sure.
then occasionally when somebody asks me, so how resilient are you, Russell? I just want to go, oh, naff off, go away. It's like a stupid word
Here
there.
for you.
Yeah, like, who invented this, silly word? There are times that is my response.
Sure. Sure. So do you think that a person could become a better leader without first becoming extremely self-aware?
Not really, Rummy. Not really. Self-awareness is the key,
Yeah.
you know,
Agreed.
and it's really interesting when over the years I've heard somebody go, yeah, I think I'm really, I'm pretty self-aware. Straight away, I'm like, just tell me a bit more about that. And
Mhm.
I would say probably about 5% of the time, somebody is. They give an answer and I go, oh, okay. And it's not about the arrogance of me if I know what their self-awareness is or isn't. It's just, you know, yeah, 95% of the time when I go, just tell me a bit more about that, I'm going, "Hmm, not sure you are."
Yeah, and what prevents somebody from becoming self-aware aside what my belief is protection, self-protection?
Yeah, so I think curiosity is one of the things that is at sort of the bedrock of resilience. So, that gets in the way. We talk an awful lot about our desire to be open-minded, but I don't think we are kind enough to ourselves to understand just how challenging that is. Our brains are hardwired for confirmation bias. So all of the time I'm trying not to do that with the knowledge that all day, every day I am, confirming my view of the world. And so then the counteraction to that is perpetually putting yourself in places where you have to feel stretched, where you have to go places, speak to people, do things,
Right.
have conversations where with different points of view to you, and you've really just got to let it wash over you.
Yeah.
Even if something feels, uncomfortable. And all of that gets in the way of the self-awareness because it can feel tough. It can feel overwhelming. So how you then do it to go full circle is you make the decision and the choice. Responsibility number 3, to engage with building and growing, nurturing your own personal resilience, because the resilient person is more open-minded and more curious and more confident in themselves with greater levels of self-awareness.
Yeah. And I want to encourage the listeners that, like, it does take an awful lot of courage to become self aware because you're going to learn some things about yourself that will shock you, and it's okay. It's just you. It's just you with you, it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah, there's only you at the end of the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you haven't got to do it by yourself, though. You really
Don't.
haven't.
Yes. Yes.
It's like one of the other dimensions of the resiliency piece is your support network.
Yes. Yes.
Some of us have got the natural propensity just to want to have a smaller one, and some of us want to have the larger ones, which is fine. But just, do find ways to involve others in nurturing your self awareness.
1000%. I encounter that so much where people are just afraid to ask for support, and it's so disabling because people do want to show up for you. People do want to be there and help support, and likewise, it's the cost of community. And there are coaches, there are mentors, there are friends, there's family, and yet we all think that we're isolated, and yet this is just happening to me. And the two of us can reassure you that whatever you're going through has likely happened to someone else, if not millions of others.
And it is. Alongside that, one of the things I try and talk about in the support network place, so that when you do ask for help, find a way to get to the place where you are clear of what you want
Yes.
from that support.
Yes.
Because human beings are gorgeous, wonderful, they want to help. But a lot of the time, when I've gone to others and go, "Oh, can I just work something through with you, or I could do with a chat," from a very nice place, they don't give me what I need. And so understanding or just doing it more often to work out, actually, when I ask for help or support, what is it that I'm wanting these other individuals to do
Exactly.
for me? That takes a little bit of working through as well,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah. It takes a little bit of processing to say, this is something I want you to fix, or I just want you to listen and allow me to dump. It's important. I think that's such a good point that I don't think I've ever heard anybody point out before. That's really good,
Yeah.
Russell.
So
Yeah.
anybody that's listening now, the next time that somebody may come to you and go, "Have you got a minute?" or "Can we have a coffee?" or "Can we have a chat?" If you can, once they've started, just ask the question, and yeah, what do you need from me?
Yeah. So good. So simple.
And
What is
for goodness sake, do what they tell
what
you.
they ask? Please. Yes. 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 Not what you
Please
want. Do what they want.
do what they tell you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. In your opinion now, what is the difference between emotional resilience and mental resilience? Is there a difference?
Well, yeah, you can split it with thoughts and feelings. Really simplistically, if there's any scientists listening now, there'll be more to it. But, that would be my simple answer. So that the mental side is going to be a little bit more in our thoughts and our self talk. And so one of the aspects of the dimension of the resilience wheel, there's a meaning word, which is the meaning that we attach to events. That's
Hmm.
our internal storytelling.
Yep.
Once again, it's back to that question about how are you? How was your day? How's your project going? How was your week? It's noticing how you answer that, because that is creating beliefs in your brain and memories, essentially. So the mental resilience is how you talk to yourself, and then the emotional is the feeling side, and they're completely, interconnected, intertwined. And yeah, it is most definitely about the self awareness, the emotional intelligence of recognizing your feelings and thoughts, and we'll have preferences around
Hmm.
these. And one of the things, there's a few clients I'm running, but one in particular, with this client, we got to, there's one time they swore at me, but then mostly laughed about it. Because one time I said, "Look, you can't think yourself out of a feeling." And the first time I said it, there was something off,
Yeah.
essentially. And then there were other times as the relationship developed, and they went, "Oh, I've done it again, haven't I, Russell? I'm trying to outthink a feeling." I was about to. So just understand that your feelings are stronger than your thoughts.
For sure. Yeah. They often, so thoughts and then feelings and then behavior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I appreciate about the work that you do is you're not necessarily telling people to push harder, right? And
No.
there's a difference between endurance and resilience. And I think also people confuse endurance with resilience. And what would you say to that?
Yeah, so they're often interconnected. So yes, you can confuse it. So there are times when you may need to do a temporary level of enduring a
Sure.
situation, because resilience is part of resilience is recovering from adverse events. And an
Yes.
adverse event doesn't always necessarily have to be a negative.
Right.
So for quick example, somebody came to one time and asked that exact question. Does an adverse event have to be negative? And I went, no, it doesn't. Please tell me why you're asking. And they said, she said, I'm saying she on purpose because her answer was, well, in the last couple of years, totally not life planned, had a baby, essentially. Wonderful, lovely that they're here. And it was an adverse event. And I went, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect example. Yes.
Right.
This is, yes, absolutely, totally unexpected and not in the life plan. And it happened. And I'm glad that it did. But by golly, was it an adverse event? Or it still is,
Sure.
essentially.
Sure.
So there are times we'll need to endure, but it is not just about that. So in this space, you've got terminology around mental toughness.
Mm-hmm.
You've got grit, which
Mm-hmm.
is Angela Duckworth and the perseverance piece. And then you've also got hardiness and you've got resilience. So these are, there are academics proponents in these spaces. And I'm going, yeah, they're all about the human condition. I'm wanting to take people into the resiliency definition of the bringing forward with learning so that as much as humanly possible, you give yourself the best chance that you spend more of your life in the thriving space. And the definition of that is when you're asked, how are you? You can go, lot going on and I'm good.
Right. Right. Because there's a separation between the two.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
surviving is hanging on by your fingernails.
Right.
Coping is a bit of a broad spectrum of I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it might be I'm okay, and I think I might be going into surviving, not okay. But I might sometimes think, do you know what, I'm okay, and do you know what, I think I could probably get myself into I'm good actually.
Right. And how long does one stay in because we do have to feel the feelings, right? And so how long does what is your recommendation or what is your experience and how long does one get to stay in what I call our pity party, you know?
Yeah, so I don't think I can put 10 seconds, Rummy. Yeah, I can't put you can't put a time thing.
Countdown. Countdown.
It's like what we need to enable yourself to do with the pause and the
Mhm.
spring forward learning is that self-awareness of when have I gone into wallowing, essentially.
Mhm. Mhm.
Out. So that enables me to sort of say, and in your pauses, what the resilient leader role models is in their pauses, they ask themselves three questions. So these are slightly different. The three things you're responsible for. But the three questions are in your pauses, either a conversation with a friend or self-reflection is, what behaviors have I been doing recently that have been serving me well against the resilience wheel? So the second question is, so what behaviors have I been doing recently that have not been serving me well
Sure.
against the resilience wheel? And the third question is, how can I do more of the behaviors that are the answer to the first question? And so when you raise your self-awareness, you will then spend the relevant time in your pity party, it's because if you're not ready to move on, then you're not ready to move on. But then you'll have a greater level of self-awareness of like, do you know what? I've spent too much time here. It's
That's
now,
exactly it. Yeah.
it's time. Yeah, it's time to go, and I'm going to do it essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell people to choose to be in the pity party because once you make it a
Mm.
choice, you often don't want to be there that long knowing that, it's not happening to me. I'm choosing this feeling and that's okay. I want to be here. I'm not ready yet to move on and be resilient just yet. But once you make it a choice, I think for me at least, it works where I can snap out of it much faster from a place of love, self-love, and
No,
instead of like,
absolutely,
woe
yes.
is me.
So I just thought as well, is it a party, Romie? Because for me, a party.
It's a party of one. It's a party of one.
But is it a party? Because for me, a party is enjoyable.
You're
So,
right. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
is it a pity pit?
Yeah, it could, let's redefine it.
So that's just what suddenly, I've said it loads and it just suddenly popped into my head to go, but a party is something nice, Russell.
Right. That's
So,
good.
yeah,
No,
well, you
let's
might
reframe it.
enjoy a bit of wallowing.
Sure.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
party light.
Yeah. Part like coming back full circle, we started off your intro with saying that you help organizations come from a place of for good, right?
Yes.
And although that's very inspiring, what does it actually mean to you when you say it's for good?
So I'm a pragmatist. I live in the real world. I absolutely understand that, corporations, businesses, organizations, it is about, serving some form of master, financial master. It's stakeholders,
Sure.
it's the board, it's shareholders.
Sure.
It's, there needs to be profit for everybody to have a role. So the force for good is that, and the resilient organizational culture is that actually, with this acknowledgement of what this business is about, the relationships that we are having, we want to support the people who come to work and be at their best, have a go, create the right environment, and yes, it's not about people being able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. It's about the strengths-based approach to go, actually, how well do I understand myself and others of what they are naturally energized by to be at their best and produce and perform and engage. And so it's creating that environment. And so as an example, so I'm not trying to do anybody out of a job, where a resilient organizational culture doesn't necessarily need a well-being strategy. So what I mean by that is that there is the risk sometimes that the culture of an organization isn't as good as it could be. And one of the solutions is we'll have a well-being strategy. We'll do gyms and massage days and things like that. And I absolutely get, if anybody's listening now that's got the job title of head of well-being, I'm not criticizing, not having a go. It's just that there is a risk that well-being by some organizations is seen as sticking plaster. So the resilient organization, the people in the organization are well.
Yeah. That needed a pause. No, it's true. Yeah, they're just well.
They're well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's often, it's well intended.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's well intended. Yeah.
It's just not full. It's just not the full picture, or it doesn't encompass all of wellness, or it's not good, So I don't want to say it's not good, but it doesn't get to good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. It is absolutely a conversation we need to have more of. I couldn't agree more. I think we need to, we need to start saying a lot of different things out loud and allow the organizations and the people who are well intended to have the feelings about it as well, but we have to start saying things out loud that we know are true. And it's an evolution, it's not the same that it was as our parents growing up or working and stuff like that. And all of that is okay. Organizations are making more money now than they've ever made before. So it's obviously okay,
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. If you had any final words for the audience, what would it be?
Final words. Learning. Just consider how you learn or what enables you to learn, and then think about what makes you hopeful.
I'm thinking about it for me. That's good. I love learning. I'm super curious, but what makes me hopeful? I mean, I have an idea. It's leadership, obviously, right? Like done the right way. And right is even relative, but thank you. Where can the audience find you?
So, theresiliencecoach.co.uk. That's where you can find us. And Russell, the Resilience Coach, put that in. You'll find me in all sorts of different places, websites, LinkedIn, whatever. That's where you find us, essentially. I've been doing a huge amount of writing, blogging recently. So there's about 25, 30 blogs that are just in train. I'm just doing one a day at the minute. It's just helping me
Sure.
with my reflections, my thoughts, and where am I and what do I want to say, what do I want to do.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love Cool. Well, thank you, Russell, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And that concludes our episode of Leadership from the Heart. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, please check out Russell. We'll have all his links in the show notes. So scroll down, check him out. He's obviously well intended, knows what he's talking about. And I think he can help the world through resilience properly more than what we know today. So thank you for that, Russell. Thank you for what you're doing in this world. Appreciate you.
Likewise, Romie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanna hear you go.